Acting Secretary Beam, so the question, a follow-up to Judy Ward's question, Senator Ward's question to you. 18 and under, you said about 12% of the cases, 12% of the cases encompass statewide for our young people. What percentage or what number of those were hospitalized, required follow-up care?
I don't have the hospitalization percentage for those, but I can follow up with that.
And additionally, I'd like to know the number of deaths of 18 and under, or 20 and under. I know normally you track 20 and under, I believe, in the numbers that you send out every day.
Sure, so I can do deaths.
Thank you. I think we'll find the numbers extremely low. The last time I looked at your numbers, this was a few weeks back, though, there were thankfully no deaths 20 and under using your statistics. Would you think with that kind of, because positives, I've always asserted, was just a number, but the ones that matter was hospitalizations, of course, and those that needed respirators as well. And do you think this is a bit heavy-handed when you have 20 and under, 18 and under, with extreme measures where the science isn't really settled on it? And you mentioned, you were asked also by Senator Ward about any physical, psychological, or behavioral effects of wearing masks. I don't know if you're aware of the recent study from the University of Witte Herdecke in Germany. It's by Dortmund, Germany. They studied 25,000 kids wearing masks in Germany the past year, and they found that at least 68% of the kids had some kind of issues physically or psychologically as a result of wearing the mask for 4.5 hours a day. And this is the science. This is the facts. The Germans, very thorough, 25,000 kids. 53% of the kids had headaches or increased headaches, 50% had difficulty concentrating, 37% had trouble with drowsiness, and 42% malaise. Additionally, it found about a third of the kids experienced shortness of breath, and about a quarter of the kids experienced dizziness, and et cetera. And I could relate to that, being on an airplane and wearing a mask, for hours on end and trying to sleep and what have you. And the kids, I would say, are more vulnerable. But when they seem to be pretty resilient with the numbers as far as hospitalizations and deaths, thankfully, what's holding us back from not being so, not heavy-handed, but by inferring upon school districts and parents that they should be forced to do certain things with the kids? Should not that be their decision in light of the facts?
So I'll offer some facts first and then get to your final question.
Please.
So first, for the deaths, we have tragically had 14 deaths between the ages of 15 and 19.
And out of how many kids in the school system?
No, do you know the number of kids that are actually in the school system?
1.9.
The 14 out of 1.9 million. I mean, one's too many, but how many from the previous year before COVID died from flu, a related flu virus or what have you?
So I would like to just finish that answer.
Okay.
15 to 19 was the number I gave you. Those younger than 15, we actually can't provide right now because of the suppressing of less than 5. But there are children that are younger than that age that have passed as well. I think to your point about the evidence of masking, we have had the COVID-19 transmission in schools has been evidence-based this entire time, and that the response has been the CDC's layers of being able to say that first, vaccinations are going to help to get us there. Secondarily, we're gonna support these schools with testing, but masking is another layer to allowing that transmission to be prevented and preserving the in-person education. And so when that can actually be protected, we would like to move forward with that. With that being said, I think in reference to Senator Ward's question and going even further, and Chairman Martin also referenced it, we are in a difficult spot given where this legislature has put us. Given the constitutional amendment that many of you have supported, it is going to be extremely difficult to move forward with any of these requirements in a school setting. And so, respectfully, I would ask, how do you and your colleagues in the legislature anticipate protecting students and teachers and the tireless volunteers that are actually educating our students to make sure that we can preserve the in-person education?
Well, what I would say is the parents need to be able to make the choice. They know better than you or anyone else. We all braced ourselves a year and a half ago, and I don't know anyone that didn't take it seriously. But when, thank God, it wasn't this catastrophe like we saw around the world, and 1918, 1919. Thank God it wasn't a repeat of that. But instead of doubling, instead of letting people make their own personal health decisions, folks around the country were doubling down on things that aren't settled science. And we're told follow the science. And I'm looking at this German report that you're not familiar with from Witten, Germany, a very reputable university. And it shows that the adverse effects on kids is far worse than any benefits that were detected by them. And the Germans are very, very strict on those codes, even more so than us. And so I want to leave it in the hands of the parents. And Secretary Ortega, this will be my last question. During your confirmation hearing, I asked you, is there going to be coercion from your department on the school districts? And you assured me there would be none. Is that still true, that the decisions can be made locally by the school boards?
Sure. Currently, it's still true. However, the recommendation at the moment is to follow the CDC guidance, Senator.
Okay. And seems to be some confusion as far as with the elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund. There's an allegation from some school districts that that's being threatened to be, those funds will be withheld if they don't comply with the recommendations. Is that inaccurate or accurate?
That's inaccurate.
Thank you. And the last one is I'm hearing from some school board members is they fear liability, understandably so. Do you know of a case in previous years from other viruses or flus where a school board member or a school board was held liable for any deaths as a result of a child dying?
Do we know of any? I don't have any knowledge of a case.
And neither do I. But
Okay.
so I do believe, and I'll hold you to the pledge, of course, that it should be a local decision in the end, and that there will be no coercion or threat or loss of funds. And we know of no cases where a member, because they choose to let parents pick their own path for their kids, there will be no ramifications for people as far as from litigation. Do you stand with that?
So, I think I do. Let me just back up, because I just want to say a couple of things with regards to the choice. At the moment, many of the choices are being left as school level local decisions, right?
Good.
And so for them to work in partnership with the parents and the constituencies they serve. And so I just don't want to create a tension that pushes the school leader to suggest that we're saying here that it's this parent choice entirety when there is something that has to be done in cooperation at the local level. So I want to make sure that those deliberations happen with regards to the decisions that have happened and not impede any conversations that are being had at the school board level. With regards to liability, I think we've worked with, we've had conversations in the past about what there could be done with regards to liability protection. It's clear to me that in the circumstances that exist now, there are recommendations coming at the federal level from the CDC that are saying very specifically what schools should be doing with regards to, or the recommendation of schools with regards to face covering, that does create some concerns that schools are going to have to contend with. Now, we don't step in with regards to playing General Assembly for, advising the schools around legal issues of that nature, but we're certainly aware that there could be concerns around liability. To the moment, none have emerged to me, Senator.
All right, thank you.